Hi, welcome to Enlightened World Network. We are so excited to have Michele Landers here for the May monthly forecast. Michele is EWN's very favorite numerologist. Michele, thank you so much for being here.
As usual, Ruth, thank you so much for inviting me. I love sharing the information. And of course, EWN and you are my heart. So it makes it even more exciting. So thank you.
April felt particularly sluggish. Is there a reason for that?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of activity going on astrologically as well as numerologically. And yeah, there's just so many changes going on. And then all of this is pulling at us. So we're going to experience a little bit more of that, even more intensely in May. So let's get into it. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, so I started writing about May, and what came up right away was bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. And I said, okay, where is this going? But what I want to say in this month to everyone, and I want to just be a little bit lighthearted about it, is okay, everybody just calm down, go home, close the blinds, meditate, don't talk to anyone for the next 31 days. And this is, I'm saying a little bit, I'm saying this a little bit in jest, but there is a lot of truth to all of this. This is especially so since we are also under the influence of Taurus, which is slow down and be very deliberate. So it is quite an eventful month, and it's going to affect us emotionally, spiritually, and even physically, which I'm going to talk about some of the solar storms and what's going on. But well, actually, I think I'll talk about that first. So before I dive into all of the numerological and astrological aspects, I think what has really caught my attention recently, and recently I say within probably the last 6 months or a year, is about all of these electromagnetic energies that are going on and the solar flares. And it just has caught my ear. It's like, pay attention to this. So NASA just reported that last week, the sun had a blast of one of the strongest solar flares in 5 years. So how do these solar flares affect us? Well, it's really interesting because physically they can cause headaches, palpitations, mood swings, exhaustion, ringing in the ears, dizziness, and just a feeling of being unwell. So we can feel confused and kind of just out of sorts and not be able to put our finger on it. It's like, what's going on now? I've been definitely feeling that. And April, well, right now, of course, and this is going to probably be intensified in May. So along with these solar flares, there's this increase in the geomagnetic storms, which I've spoken about before. And these geomagnetic storms can be highly transformational because geomagnetic storms actually help us to receive these energetic downloads, and they offer us these upgrades. They're helping us to transmute and even change our DNA, which is just helping us to move closer to that 5D, to higher dimensions. And I also want to mention that anybody can check out what's going on in the atmosphere. You know, just type in storms, electromagnetic storms, solar flares, and you'll get a wealth of information about it, both from the scientific community as well as the metaphysical community. So I think that's really interesting and paying attention. So if anybody who's listening to this has been feeling not quite right, just know that you're getting downloads right now. So be happy about it and rest. So let's talk a little bit. I always like to mention about 2022 equals that 6 energy. The number 6 qualities for the whole year are to promote compassion, family, balancing our lives and our energy. It's about sensitivity. And of course, we want to promote all of those positive characteristics, and we want to be in line with it. But if you're not in line with that, if you're angry or upset or, just fighting things, then you're going to experience the challenges of the 6, which is being out of balance and not being able to communicate well. So about this sensitivity, I also want to talk about, because the number 6 year is made up of all these 2s, which we've talked about, and that's extraordinarily sensitive and very, very female. So again, females are going to continue to be in the news, and they're going to be the ones making a lot of changes all year. So just to go back to my introduction, why did I say we need to go home and stay quiet? Well, May is not just an ordinary, well, I guess I should say, how do I arrive at the universal number, right? So May has the number 5 energy about it. And that, of course, is always operating underneath. That's changed. But when you take the 2022, which equals 6, add it to the 5 universal month of May, what do you get? You get 11. So if anyone follows numerology, they know that 11 is an illuminating number. So normally, like, we reduce all the numbers to a single digit, but when we get the number 11, we want to hold that number and we want to look at that. And that goes for 22 and 33. So 11-2 is what? It's about illumination. So although the energy of the month has the elements of the number 2, because that's always underneath it, that's patience, balance, all about relationships, intuition. And again, it is slow moving. But in addition, the 11-2 adds a certain surprise element. And that could be really good or really challenging, as we all know, right? But it's also highly spiritual. So I encourage everyone to really tap into that spiritual part of themselves. It makes you more intuitive. It makes you more sensitive. So along with all of these geomagnetic activity and energy of the 11-2, sometimes this high energy can be a lot to handle for some people. The energy can bring a lot of chaos. Everything on this planet is being stirred up. Okay. And that's just the way it is and the way it's going to be for most of the year, with all of this different energy coming in. So it's 11-2 is about surprise, here it is, or here I am. And that can be really good, or it could lead to upheavals. And it could also be a very destabilizing energy. So it can bring accord and it can bring discord. So May is a very emotional month. And we also might feel, again, this feeling of being tired or this feeling of being exhausted. So of course, this energy affects us worldwide. And I've talked about this before. And again, this is for the year, but especially so this month, earthquakes and again, flooding. Flooding has to do with water. Water is emotional. This is a very emotional month. But here's the good news. On a spiritual level, 11-2 energy is just such a wonderful time and an easier time to connect to the divine or God or whatever you call that higher power. And yes, it can bring illumination. And yes, it can bring profound psychic experience. But again, for some people, it might be a little bit too much energy to handle. And if that happens, then it kind of reduces to the challenges of the number 2. And what is that? I talked a little bit about it, but it's also about oversensitivity. And that is a biggie this month. So I really encourage people to just be very cognizant of their feelings and their words as well, and communication. So you just want to be really careful and, pay more attention, be more of an observer. It can make you feel a little bit unbalanced. It can bring surprise happenings in home and family. So, but the thing is about this high vibrational energy, when we're working with it in a positive way, it is a great time for reconciliations, for harmony, for balancing our relationships. It can bring collaboration. It can bring partnerships to the forefront. And again, it's especially a very strong female energy month, therefore very emotional. But what do females, for the most part, I'm not excluding males, I'm just saying that the energy normally of females is we want harmony, we want peace. So right now we're in the astrological sign of Taurus from April 20th. It goes from April 20th to around May 21st. And Taurus is an earth sign. They can be a little bit stubborn. They can be a little bit bullheaded. They can be set in their ways, but they're also very determined and dependable. So we have that energy that is floating around and affecting us as well. So on April 30th, and I was going to say we're going to have, but this is going to air on May 1st and 2nd. We had on April 30th is a solar eclipse in Taurus. So what does that mean? That means doors opening, doorways to the future. And on some levels, it'll bring new beginnings, new direction, new possibilities. So in addition to all of this sensitivity that's taking place and all of this emotion that's taking place, we also highlight all the themes that are associated with Taurus, and that has to do with food and distribution of food, earth, money, land, property, resources. It can bring significant change-ups in how we're dealing with our resources and how can we improve the distribution of these resources. And I'm not talking about just generally, well, part of this is out, in the whole world, but how can we do that? It's opportunity to sow seeds that can produce new results, but it is about homes and Mother Earth. So how could we within our community gather together? And I'm not even sure what this would look like, but I've been thinking about it a lot. So how can we have these within our community, do something to help with food distribution and resources and maybe planting gardens? I know that I think during, World War II, they had these victory gardens, they were called. And, doing something like that, it is really, really the time for us to get back to the garden, so to speak. very much about Mother Earth. And the wisdom of Taurus is this: we have what we need. And Taurus is extremely resourceful. So again, we need to start creating more local activity and in the community dealing with food and our land and how we can improve that. So May 4th astrologically has some elements of revolution, and I know that's a strong word, but we can probably expect some kind of pushback, or even there might be some earthquakes just around that time, because it's a very strong energy taking place. A heads up on May 10th, Mercury goes retrograde until June 3rd. So we know what that's about. Communication problems, it doesn't always happen that way. I know that Mercury going retrograde has a really bad rap, but it is like words to the wise. Just be very careful. It doesn't mean you don't sign contracts. I know people say, I never sign. Well, just be really careful about it. Watch your words, watch what you're signing. May 15th to 16th is extraordinarily emotional days, and it's kind of like a game changer psychically. So hold your frequency really steady. And I think around that time we have a lunar eclipse, and this lunar eclipse is a full moon in Scorpio. So that's a very, very intense time. It's transformation. It's new. It's birthing new things. It's about resolutions, closure, very emotional, very intuitive. It's about bringing up to the surface what is below the surface. It's really a great time to deal with those emotions. And during that period of time, also, we got to really keep a watch on our opinions and our judgments. So overall, it's a very, very intense emotional month. It's bumpy, it's exciting, it's unpredictable. It promises to be a little bit of a tug of war, so to speak, between both balance and imbalance. Again, I just want to suggest to people, watch, what you're thinking, what you're judging, what your opinions are. It's not the month to push anything. Our sensitivity is at an all-time high. So really, really get in touch. Listen to your inner self. Listen to others. Nurture what's in your life and be the ultimate observer in your life. And it can get a little tricky, but number 11 is super intuitive. So go within, meditate, listen, embrace solitude. And if possible, I don't even know how this is possible, but as much as you can, turn off all those devices. Sit with your thoughts, sit with your feelings. Don't be afraid to allow some emotions to bubble up to the surface so you can deal with them and you can let them go. Because a lot will be revealed when we sit in silence like this, and when we have the energy of the 11-2, and when we have all this electromagnetic energy going on, so much can be revealed. It can be so positive. And as best as we can, just stay balanced. It's all about what's going on between our ears, what we're thinking about. So make sure you clean up a lot of your thoughts as much as possible. Again, meditate, stay in nature. And what I was saying about go home, close your blinds, meditate, don't talk to anybody, only some of that is really true. Yes, gather with your tribe for sure, okay? but it is important to spend some time alone in solitude. And then you don't know what's going to be revealed, and you can bring some ideas to your community, to your tribe. So that is pretty much the essence of what's coming up for us. But I do want to emphasize the intuitive, psychic part of this. I'm excited about that. And I can feel the stirrings within myself because I've been redrawn to the master yogi Babaji. I don't know if anyone knows about Babaji, the deathless master from Hadakan in India, but they say that if you say his name in reference 3 times, that you can make a connection with him. So that's what I've been doing, and a lot of interesting things have been happening. So check out Babaji as well, I would say. So that pretty much, I think that ties it all up. And of course, if anybody has any questions, they can also, they can email me, get in touch with me, find out more. So thank you, Ruth, and thank you, EWN, for allowing me to share this information.
Michele, I was sitting here thinking, what wise counsel you give us month after month. And I so appreciate that. A couple weeks ago, Terry Angel and I were talking, and it just felt like we were caught in tornadoes of energy happening around us. And when we could stand back and be that witness and the participant at the same time, it was so helpful to just get some perspective on that. So to hear the April to May, how that's playing out, and it's like, yes, we've been living that.
It's we are in a major transition, and some people might say, well, yeah, I know that, but it's because of COVID and it's because of the war in Ukraine, and all of that on a very physical level is absolutely true. But what is the catalyst for that? The catalyst for that, or the genesis of all of this that's happening, is because we are shifting and we are transforming and usually it's not unusual to have a breakdown, an overused expression, but it's so true, a breakdown to a breakthrough. So we have to, as long as we can ride these waves and stay centered, we're going to be fine. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it isn't an oncoming train, as some people say. It's really can be a beautiful thing. So we just have to ride this wave, put out positive energies. So important. I know I've been repeating this, but it is important. Stop the judgment of others. It's okay to have opinions. Everybody has opinions, but not to judge, and to keep our own counsel, listen to our intuition, and share with other like-minded people. Spread peace, love, and joy. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Michele, when you said to go home, come in, and I have found for me during this last week that there's been such a bombardment of energy and information coming in that I have naturally gravitated to coming home and just shutting it all out.
Yeah.
So I think when you say, go home, slow down, I think part of that is just to shut everything else out.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's important. We're being bombarded on so many levels with energy, besides, and the solar flares and the electromagnetic storms are also a big part of it. And it's also the disruption that's going on the planet, both on a physical level and an emotional level. There's, people are fearful, and that fear just generates a lot of negativity. So again, it's important to you send love even to your perceived enemies or the people you perceive. Don't send poison arrows. Don't say, oh, you know, he shouldn't be doing this and he shouldn't be here. No, just send love, you know. And I posted something the other day. I wish I could remember what the quote was, but it was really, I didn't know how strong I was until I could forgive forgive those who, or forgive someone who wasn't sorry, and accept an apology that I never received. And that sounds kind of strange, but, and I don't know if I'm quoting it exactly, but it's pretty much what it means is just, again, don't have this anger or resentment or upset feeling over people that you perceive have done you wrong or doing the planet wrong. It doesn't serve any good purpose. But it doesn't mean to be a doormat. And I don't want people to misunderstand me. It doesn't mean that you just let everything happen and you don't take action. It just means whatever action you take, do it with love. Do it with love and send love all the time to all. It changes us and it changes the world without a doubt.
Beautiful. Thank you. And just one last thing, you talked about May, where we're coming from a place of being oversensitive. And I just encourage you to think, not only are you being oversensitive, but other folks are too. So that's a perfect time to release the judgment, just hold other folks in love and grace. It'll just make the month go that much easier.
It will. It will. Thank you.
I wanted to point out Michele is an author. Here is the Tower of Numbers. This is not her only book. If you're interested in her work, which is amazing, please go to Amazon and check out Michele Landers as the author. So Michele, thank you so very much for being here with us today. And if folks want to reach out to you or learn more about you, how do they find you?
My name, MicheleLanders.com, and that's Michele with one L. And or also you can text me 954-444. A lot of fours there. Okay, 954-444-6955 or Michele Landers at bellsouth.net. So I'm available. Also, I'm available to give a free 15-minute consult to anyone who would just, you know, like to chat about whatever, numerology, life coaching, how to be in more peace and joy in their life. And if you go to my website, MicheleLanders.com, there's an area that you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation. So thank you.
That's a beautiful gift. So Michele, thank you so very much. And our friends here at Enlightened World Network, thank you for being here with us month after month after month. And we're all living this together. So thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us. So much love to each and every one of you. Take care. Bye.